The observation deck of the HSC Resolute hummed with the quiet efficiency of a well-oiled machine. Commander Dane Mercer stood at the massive viewing window, his gaze locked on the infinite darkness beyond Neptune's orbit. A storm of activity churned behind him, tactical officers analyzing data streams, technicians adjusting the ship's sensors, and his second-in-command, Lieutenant Valerie Kane, pacing the floor. "Still nothing?" Mercer asked without turning. "Nothing new," Kane replied, her tone clipped. "They've been sitting there for 48 hours. No movement, no transmissions, just watching." In the distance, obscured by the haze of Neptune's atmosphere, 3 alien vessels hovered in formation. They were sleek, predatory shapes that gleamed faintly against the darkness, their surfaces pulsating with an organic, otherworldly glow. For 2 days, they had remained motionless, silent sentinels that offered no clue as to their origin or purpose. "Give me another scan," Mercer said, his voice calm but firm. "I want a full breakdown." The Resolute's AI, Athena, responded with a soothing tone. "Initiating deep scan, Commander. Warning, residual energy signatures suggest highly advanced propulsion and shielding technologies." Mercer frowned. "They're not here by accident," he muttered. The Resolute wasn't alone. Over the past 48 hours, humanity's best and brightest military vessels had gathered near Neptune, forming an impromptu defensive line against the unknown visitors. The USS Dominion, a hulking carrier-class ship, floated nearby, its hull bristling with kinetic cannons and missile arrays. Smaller frigates and fighter squadrons patrolled the perimeter, their engines leaving glowing trails in the void. "We've got 30 ships out here," Kane said, leaning over Mercer's shoulder. "If they're looking for a fight, they'll get one." Mercer didn't respond immediately. His focus remained on the alien vessels, his mind racing with possibilities. Who were they? Explorers? Spies? Something worse? The only certainty was that humanity couldn't afford to appear weak. "We'll hold the line," he said finally, "but let's not provoke them unless we have to. The first move has to come from them." The alien ships made their move on the 3rd day. It began with a faint energy surge, an almost imperceptible spike in the Resolute's sensors. Within seconds, the alien vessels had repositioned, breaking their formation and moving closer to the human fleet. Their smooth, organic hulls shimmered with a faint blue light, like bioluminescent sea creatures gliding through the deep. "They're advancing," Kane said, her voice tense, "closing to 50,000 kilometers." "Hold steady," Mercer ordered. "No one fires unless I give the command." Athena's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the lead alien vessel." Mercer's pulse quickened. "Put it through." The bridge fell silent as the alien transmission filled the air. It wasn't words, at least not at first. It was a series of sounds, low hums, rising tones, and rhythmic pulses that seemed to resonate in the chest. After a few moments, Athena began translating. "This is Captain Kaelin Artis of the Vrax Coalition. We come in peace. Your vessels are intriguing." Mercer raised an eyebrow. "Intriguing? What's that supposed to mean?" Before anyone could respond, the transmission continued. "We wish to observe, to understand. Show us what you are capable of." The tension on the bridge was palpable. Mercer exchanged a glance with Kane, who shrugged. "Sounds like a challenge." Mercer nodded. "If they want a demonstration, we'll give them one." Over the next hour, the human fleet performed a carefully coordinated series of maneuvers. Fighter squadrons darted between asteroids, their movements sharp and precise. The Dominion's massive cannons fired at distant targets, vaporizing chunks of rock in a dazzling display of raw power. The Resolute activated its energy shields, creating a shimmering dome of light that absorbed simulated enemy fire. From the alien ships, Captain Kaelin Artis observed in silence. His crew, seated around a glowing tactical display, watched the human fleet's performance with wide eyes. "They are different," Kaelin murmured. "Their designs are raw, aggressive, Yet there is a certain beauty in their efficiency. Zarnak, his advisor, sneered. They are relics of a primitive species. They rely on brute force. Perhaps, Kalin replied, his silver skin glinting in the light of the display. But brute force can be effective. The alien ships responded with a demonstration of their own. One of the vessels moved forward, emitting a faint pulsating light. A small probe detached from its hull, moving toward the Resolute with incredible speed. Unidentified object incoming, Kane warned. It's small, but it's fast. Mercer acted quickly. Intercept it. Use the drones. A squadron of fighter drones launched from the Resolute, converging on the alien probe. The probe reacted instantly, dodging their attacks with impossible agility. The drones adjusted, firing precision lasers that eventually disabled the probe, sending it spinning into the void. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Mercer remained focused. That wasn't just a probe, he said. That was a test. Moments later, a new transmission arrived from the alien fleet. Kalin's voice was calm, almost amused. Impressive. You have potential. But tell me, Commander Mercer, why do you build such machines? What drives your kind to create vessels of war? Mercer leaned forward, his voice steady. Survival. On Earth, we learned long ago that strength is the only guarantee. There was a long pause before Kalin replied. Fascinating. Perhaps we have underestimated you. As the alien ships pulled back, Mercer allowed himself a small smile. The first contact had ended without bloodshed, but the message was clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The quiet on the Resolute's bridge was deceptive. It wasn't the calm of relief, but the tension of a held breath. For hours after the alien fleet's apparent retreat, Commander Dane Mercer watched the tactical displays with a wary eye. The 3 Vrax ships, though distant now, had not left the solar system. Still holding position near Uranus, reported Lieutenant Valerie Kane, her voice steady but edged with frustration. They haven't moved since their probe was destroyed. They're observing, Mercer replied. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, his eyes never leaving the central display. They're not done testing us. Kane turned to the AI interface. Athena, run a deep scan of the Vrax ships. Look for anything unusual. Athena's holographic avatar flickered into view, an elegant figure with glowing blue eyes. Scanning initiated, detecting residual energy signatures near the alien vessels, likely remnants of cloaked probes. Mercer stiffened. They've sent more probes. Athena nodded. The energy patterns suggest at least 2 cloaked devices operating within the fleet's vicinity. Their exact purpose remains unclear. Kane's fingers flew across her console. They're trying to map us, our defenses, our capabilities. We can't let them gather intel. Mercer's voice was firm. Activate the drones. Sweep the area. I want those probes found and destroyed. The drone swarm launched silently into the void, their sleek frames glinting faintly in the starlight. Each drone was equipped with advanced scanning equipment, capable of detecting even the faintest energy signatures. They moved in precise formations, their sensors sweeping for the elusive cloaked probes. Reading faint distortions near Grid Epsilon, Kane announced. Drones are converging. On the tactical display, a cluster of drones darted toward a patch of empty space. Suddenly, one of the probes uncloaked, its smooth organic design glowing faintly. It emitted a burst of energy, disrupting the drone's formation. Adaptive countermeasures, Athena observed. The probe is learning from our tactics. Mercer's jaw tightened. Then we'll have to outthink it. Redirect the drones to flank it from both sides. Use a pincer formation. The drones adjusted instantly, surrounding the probe in a coordinated attack. Energy beams lanced out, disabling the device in a brilliant flash. A second probe was detected moments later and met the same fate. Kane exhaled sharply. Both probes neutralized. For now. Mercer nodded. For now. But they're testing our limits. This isn't over. Hours later, the alien fleet made its next move. The three Vrak ships began a slow but deliberate approach, their glowing hulls pulsating with a rhythmic light. It was both beautiful and unnerving, like the bioluminescence of a deep-sea predator. "They're closing in," Kane said, her voice low. "Range, 70,000 kilometers." Mercer straightened in his chair. "Hold formation. All ships on high alert." A new transmission arrived, its tone calm but layered with unspoken tension. "Commander Mercer, we wish to better understand your capabilities. Shall we continue this exchange of techniques?" Mercer frowned. "Exchange of techniques? What are they playing at?" Kane muttered. "Feels like they're inviting us to a duel." Mercer considered his options. Engaging the Vraks directly could risk an all-out conflict, but refusing might be seen as weakness. After a long pause, he spoke. "Send a response. Tell them, we'll meet you on neutral ground." The chosen location was an asteroid field near Neptune. It was a dangerous and unpredictable environment, filled with tumbling rocks and gravitational anomalies. The perfect stage for a tactical demonstration. The Resolute led the human fleet into the field, flanked by the Dominion and several smaller frigates. The Vrak's ships followed, their movements eerily smooth as they weaved through the debris. "This is reckless," Kane muttered, watching the tactical display. "One wrong move, and we're toast." Mercer's expression was unreadable. "That's why we'll win. They don't know how we think." The exchange began with a coordinated maneuver from the Vraks. One of their ships emitted a burst of energy, creating a gravitational distortion that sent nearby asteroids hurtling toward the human fleet. "Evasive maneuvers," Mercer barked. The Resolute's thrusters fired, narrowly avoiding a massive chunk of rock. The Dominion activated its energy shields, deflecting the smaller debris. Meanwhile, fighter drones darted into the chaos, targeting the source of the distortion. "Return fire," Mercer ordered, "but focus on precision. Show them what we're capable of." The Resolute's cannons roared to life, targeting asteroids with pinpoint accuracy. Each shot was calculated, creating clear paths through the field while subtly steering debris toward the Vrak's ships. On board the Vrak's flagship, Kalin watched the display with growing respect. "They're not just reacting," he murmured. "They're adapting." The turning point came when the Resolute deployed its experimental pulse disruptor. Designed to temporarily disable electronic systems, the weapon sent a shockwave through the asteroid field, disrupting the Vrak's ship's movements. "They're exposed," Kane said, her voice tense with excitement. "We've got them." Mercer hesitated. The Vrak's ships were vulnerable, but a direct attack could escalate the situation beyond control. Instead, he chose a calculated move. "Hold fire," he said. "Let them recover." Kane stared at him. "Sir, this is our chance." Mercer met her gaze. "We're not here to start a war. We've made our point." The Vrak's ships withdrew to a safe distance, their movements slower and more cautious. A new transmission arrived, Kalin's voice tinged with what sounded like admiration. "Your tactics are unconventional. It seems we have underestimated you." Mercer allowed himself a small smile. "We've had a lot of practice surviving." Kalin paused before responding. "Perhaps there is more to your kind than we anticipated. Let us consider this a productive exchange." As the transmission ended, Kane turned to Mercer. "Do you think they'll leave?" Mercer shook his head. "Not yet, but they're starting to respect us. That's a start." The Resolute drifted in relative silence, its crew recovering from the intense exchange in the asteroid field. Commander Dane Mercer leaned against the holographic table in the war room, his grey eyes scanning the tactical map of the solar system. The Vrak's ships were retreating toward the outer rim, maintaining a cautious distance but still visible on long-range scanners. Lieutenant Valerie Kane entered, holding a datapad. "They've pulled back to 120,000 kilometers, sir. No further movement." "Strategic retreat," Mercer muttered. "They're regrouping, maybe re-evaluating their strategy." Kane hesitated. "Or biding their time." Mercer didn't reply. He studied the map for another long moment before turning to Athena's holographic interface. Anything unusual about their behavior since the retreat? Athena's calm, melodic voice filled the room. Energy signatures indicate low-level communications between their vessels. However, there are also faint transmissions directed beyond the solar system. Mercer frowned. Beyond? To where? Unknown, Athena replied. The signal encryption is advanced. Decryption may require several hours. Kane crossed her arms. They might not be the only ones out there. As the Resolute's team worked to decipher the Vrak's transmissions, a new development shook the bridge. One of the frigates stationed near Uranus detected an anomaly, a faint energy ripple moving through the planet's magnetic field. It's cloaked, Kane said, leaning over her console. Whatever it is, it's trying to stay hidden. Mercer straightened. Bring up the visuals. The display showed nothing but the swirling bands of Uranus's atmosphere. Then, as the sensor algorithms recalibrated, a faint outline appeared, a massive, organic-looking vessel, far larger than the 3 Vrak ships already present. Another ship, Mercer said quietly. Bigger, and it's hiding. Athena chimed in. Analysis suggests this vessel is a command ship, likely coordinating the other vessels. Its cloaking technology is significantly more advanced. Kane's face darkened. They've been watching us this whole time. Mercer's jaw tightened. They're not just watching, they're testing us and reporting back to someone. Before the Resolute's crew could act, a transmission arrived directly from the cloaked ship. Unlike Kalen's earlier messages, this one was colder, more formal. Humans, your adaptability is noted. However, true strength is measured in more than reactive tactics. If you wish to prove your worth, face our trials. Mercer exchanged a glance with Kane. Trials? The transmission continued. We have left beacons near Neptune, Titan, and the asteroid belt. Each contains a challenge designed to test your ingenuity and resolve. Succeed, and we will grant you an audience with the Vrak's Council. Fail, and your species will be deemed unworthy of further interaction. Kane bristled. Deemed unworthy? Who do they think they are? They think they're more advanced, Mercer said grimly. But we'll show them otherwise. The Resolute arrived at the first beacon, a massive, floating construct pulsating with alien energy. Its design was intricate and intimidating, resembling an oversized crystal lattice surrounded by glowing orbs. Athena, analysis, Mercer ordered. The beacon is emitting a high-frequency signal designed to overload nearby communication systems. If it remains active, it could disrupt our entire fleet's coordination. Mercer nodded. Suggestions. Athena's hologram flickered. The signal can be neutralized by creating a feedback loop using our communication relays. However, the process requires precise timing and calibration. Kane sighed. One mistake, and we fry our own systems. Then we won't make a mistake, Mercer said. Let's get to work. The crew worked tirelessly, coordinating with the Dominion and nearby frigates. Drones were deployed to position relay nodes around the beacon, creating a network to trap and neutralize the signal. Ready to activate the feedback loop, Kane reported after hours of preparation. On your mark, sir. Do it, Mercer said. The relays lit up in unison, their energy fields converging on the beacon. For a moment, the ship's systems flickered, the lights dimming. Then, with a final burst of energy, the beacon deactivated, its glow fading into darkness. Trial 1 complete, Kane said with a grin. The second beacon was located on the surface of Titan, hidden within a sprawling underground labyrinth. The Resolute dispatched a team of Marines and engineers, led by Kane, to locate and deactivate it. The labyrinth was a maze of twisting tunnels and alien structures, its walls glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the silence. This place gives me the creeps, one Marine muttered. Stay focused, Kane said, her voice steady. Athena, guide us to the beacon. The AI's voice crackled through their comms. Proceed 300 meters north, then take the eastern passage. The team encountered numerous obstacles: energy barriers that required complex bypasses, automated drones that fired precision lasers, and environmental hazards like sudden gas vents. Each challenge pushed their skills and teamwork to the limit. Finally, they reached the beacon, a towering spire embedded in the cavern wall. Kane examined the controls, her brow furrowed. "It's encrypted. Athena, I need your help." Working together, Kane and Athena unraveled the encryption, deactivating the beacon just as another wave of drones descended on their position. "Time to go," Kane shouted, leading the team back to the surface under heavy fire. They returned to the Resolute battered but victorious. The final trial took place in the asteroid belt, where the beacon was guarded by a swarm of automated defense platforms. The platforms created a deadly gauntlet, firing high-energy projectiles at any approaching ships. "We can't brute force our way through," Mercer said, studying the tactical display. "We need precision." Athena suggested a plan, using the fleet's drones to create decoy signals, drawing the platform's fire while a stealth frigate slipped through to disable the beacon. The plan was risky, requiring perfect coordination. The drones launched, weaving through the asteroid field and drawing the platform's attention. Meanwhile, the stealth frigate maneuvered carefully, its cloaking system barely holding against the beacon's sensors. As the frigate approached the beacon, the platforms adjusted, detecting its presence. For a tense few moments, it seemed the plan might fail. But then, with a well-placed EMP burst, the frigate disabled the beacon, ending the trial. The Resolute drifted in silence after the final beacon trial. The human fleet had proven its resilience, ingenuity, and strength, but Commander Dane Mercer knew the wracks weren't finished. The alien ships remained on the edge of their sensors, still observing, still waiting. "They're not making a move," Lieutenant Valerie Kane said, her voice tinged with both relief and frustration. "They're testing our patience now," Mercer replied. The silence didn't last long. A transmission from the cloaked wrack's command ship appeared on the Resolute's comm channel. This time, the voice was smooth and authoritative. "Humans, you have completed the trials. We are impressed. Few species have faced our challenges and emerged intact." Mercer folded his arms. "What's next?" The voice continued, ignoring the sharpness in his tone. "Your fleet is invited to the Nexus, the seat of the Vrax Council. There your leaders may negotiate humanity's future in the galactic order." "An invitation to their capital?" Kane asked, raising an eyebrow. "That sounds like a trap." Mercer nodded. "Or an opportunity. Either way, we're going." The human fleet prepared for the journey into deep space. The Nexus, located in the Vrax Coalition's territory, lay far beyond the boundaries of known space. The Resolute, the Dominion, and 2 frigates were selected to represent humanity, leaving the rest of the fleet to secure Earth's defenses. As the fleet traveled, tensions ran high. The crew of the Resolute alternated between excitement and unease, speculating about what awaited them. "It's not every day you get invited to the capital of an alien empire," Kane said during a briefing. "Let's hope it's not the last day," Mercer replied dryly. Athena provided constant updates on their progress. "We are entering Vrax-controlled space. Energy readings suggest extensive infrastructure, including defensive installations." Mercer studied the holographic map. "Let's not make any sudden moves. This is their turf." As they approached the Nexus, the sight was breathtaking. The Vrax capital wasn't a planet, but a massive artificial structure, a sprawling megastructure orbiting a pulsar, its glowing rings casting brilliant light across the void. The human delegation was escorted to the central chamber of the Nexus, a towering hall of light and sound. The Vrax Council sat on elevated platforms, their silver-skinned forms shimmering with the pulsar's light. Kalin Artis stood at the center, his expression calm but curious. "Humans," Kalin began, his voice resonating through the chamber. "You have proven yourselves resourceful, resilient, and capable of great innovation. But you remain a dangerous enigma. We must know your intentions." Mercer stepped forward, his posture steady. Our intentions are survival and cooperation. Humanity has faced countless challenges, on our planet and in the void, and we've learned to adapt. We don't seek conflict, but we won't shy away from it if threatened. Kalin tilted his head. Your ships speak a different language. They are not built for peace. Mercer met his gaze without flinching. Our ships are tools, like any other. Tools for defense, for exploration, and, when necessary, for deterrence. We've learned that strength ensures survival. The council murmured among themselves, their voices a mix of curiosity and concern. As the debate continued, Kalin raised a hand, silencing the chamber. There is more at stake here than humanity's survival. The trials you faced were not merely tests of strength. They were meant to prepare you. Prepare us for what? Kane asked sharply. Kalin gestured to a holographic display that filled the chamber with shifting images. It showed a massive fleet, larger than anything humanity had imagined, emerging from a distant star system. The ships were jagged, dark, and pulsating with malevolent energy. They are called the Zarnak, Kalin explained, a nomadic species that consumes everything in its path. They are not conquerors, they are destroyers. The room fell silent. They are coming, Kalin continued, his voice grave, and they will reach this sector within decades. Every civilization in their path has been eradicated. The Vrax coalition has stood against them before, but we cannot do so alone. Mercer absorbed the information, his mind racing. You want humanity to join your fight? Kalin nodded. You have the potential to be powerful allies. Your ingenuity, your resilience, and yes, your ships may be what tips the balance. Back aboard the Resolute, Mercer called a meeting with his senior officers and Athena. The stakes were clear, but the path forward was not. If we join them, we're putting humanity on the front lines of an interstellar war, Kane said. But if we don't, and the Zarnak reach us alone, we won't stand a chance, Mercer finished. Athena projected a timeline of the Zarnak's movements. Based on current data, they will reach Earth within 50 years if unopposed. Joining the Vrax coalition could delay or even prevent their arrival. The room was silent. Finally, Mercer spoke. We didn't survive this long by hiding. If the Zarnak are coming, we need to be ready, and we'll need allies. The next day, Mercer returned to the Vrax Council. Humanity is prepared to stand with the Vrax coalition against the Zarnak. But understand this, we fight as equals. We will not be pawns in someone else's war. Kalin smiled faintly. Your terms are acceptable. Welcome to the coalition, Commander Mercer. The chamber erupted in light as the Council signaled its approval. The human fleet departed the Nexus, its mission clear. Over the following months, humanity and the Vrax began collaborating on joint initiatives, sharing technology, strategizing, and preparing for the Zarnak's arrival. The Resolute became a symbol of the alliance, its crew working tirelessly to strengthen the bonds between Earth and the stars. For Mercer, the journey was far from over, but as he stood on the Resolute's bridge, watching the stars blur past, he felt a rare sense of hope. Humanity wasn't just surviving, it was thriving,